Good morning and welcome to the May 2nd meeting of the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority. We are going to go ahead and we do not have a quorum for our meeting at this time, and it does require 5 trustees as a minimum, and we do not have that. So we are going to go ahead and open the public hearing to receive comments on the proposed elimination of Route 19 and the service reduction on Route 24. We have citizens to be heard on this, and we will ask, as I call your name, to come up and identify yourself. And if you would stick to the 3-minute rule out of courtesy, because we have a number of people to make comments, we would appreciate that. And I'll ask Jesse to be a timekeeper to try and keep us going. So at this time, I will go ahead and call Sherman Effinger up to make comments. Okay. Yeah, come to the podium and.
Great, good to know. Awesome, well, I'm glad I made it on time. Did not think I'd be named first to come up, as I do not stand to be the most impacted by the proposed changes. Dear Council, I am calling for the AM rush hour specifically to be reconsidered and adequately reviewed, and in other words, left alone. At this time, I catch the 5:50 a.m., but I'm not often permitted access to the vehicle until 6 a.m. or even later. So in the literature, it's proposing 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. However, I think that a 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. would be more effective. The bus routes 10 and 18 could be reduced. They have 2 physical buses running each day. I think that that's something that could be also considered. Norman is far, it's an important city. I think that a 12-hour span is reasonable to cover, even if you have to curtail it back to 3 hours per rush hour timelines. And I think that when you put it 2, 6 to 9, that leaves itself to catching greater loss of time impacted by traffic. So a slated back in an earlier time is, I think, wiser. Theories that prove consistent on paper often prove chaotic in practice. Anyway, thank you. That's all I really have to say. I think the evening one would be effective as it stands, and I just think that since no one was surveyed, and that was also brought to light at the community meeting, I feel like we're doing a disservice to the people who are actually riding, and they've kind of been overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our next person is Larry Hopper.
Hello again, Larry Hopper, 6008 Southeast 56 Court, Ward 4. 3 minutes, so I'll go fast, okay? And Chairman Sibner, congratulations on Gail and this Leadership OKC Award. Wonderful. Hey, the APT, Alliance for Public Transportation, has 8 to 10 supporters here today. And I'm not on its board, but I'm what they call its administrator, volunteer position. We know Embark's trying to do a good job, okay? And your staff has the APT position statement, so I'll kind of hit the high points of that and then make a few other comments. We'd like to be able to meet with the staff regarding the Midwest City Route 15, which is sort of inextricably tied to the 19. You know, probably about 20 people showed up last Thursday and again Tuesday night to basically express their disapproval over the losing the 19 and the neglect of the 15. And a little bit like the gentleman before me said, there's about 19 bus routes in Oklahoma City that run every half hour, 5 days a week. And it would seem like some of them could be a little less frequent in the middle of the day to try to help basically fund the Route 19 or maybe the Route 15 and some better solution. Remember, the Route 15 runs only every 80 minutes instead of every 30. Now, maybe the Spencer Ward 7 Route 19 needs to continue to operate a couple of more months past July 1st, just to find time to work out the right solution for the problem. That more permanent solution, according to the APT, would be to use something that's kind of in what is in the Embark Moves plan to basically extend the Midwest City Route 15 to 36 in Spencer, and then from there to Mary Mahoney and Fred Factory Gardens, institute some kind of a low-tech shuttle, maybe it's sort of like microtransit, to get people to and from those two events to the end of the bus route, basically. So could even be that some of the funds that would normally go to COTPA could be provided to the Housing Authority so they could just manage it without trying to burden Embark staff. We hear the county may end up being able to use funds for transit the way that Tulsa County intends to do. We'll await the legal decision on that. So, if the Route 15 Midwest City ran every 45 minutes or so, 6 a.m. to 11, instead of every 80, then many riders would benefit, be a better value for the investment. APT will help promote the eventual solution regarding the Route 15 and 19 with how to ride classes, et cetera. And we believe the path of Route 15 needs to be streamlined to where it can run to and from, back and forth, in front of the hospital there. Now, here's a new thought. I've mentioned it before. The city of Oklahoma City does not require a direct subsidy from suburbs to help operate its other regional systems and services, like the zoo, like the airport, the recreation areas at lakes, the housing authority.
3 minutes, Larry.
So why not treat transit the same way, okay? And that'd be a different way of looking at it, but Midwest City already pays a lot, and so maybe that's really it, Oklahoma City shouldering a larger burden. It's really a system. So thank you for the call. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next one is Lynette Morris.
Hello, everybody. I am here today because the first community meeting that you guys had, it was set at a time where the buses stopped running, so some of the people like me couldn't get there. So for this meeting today, I needed to be heard because I ride the bus to the medical facility out there, to Mary Mahoney, and there's no way that I can get there any other way except the Route 19. So if we can either get a bus that goes directly from the terminal to the medical facility, that would be great. But just to shut it down, it's not feasible. What am I supposed to do? I have high blood pressure. Can anybody else help me? No. Yeah, I could probably go to a different doctor, but my doctor's there, and I maintain that patient-doctor relationship with her. So I need that. Also, if the Route 19 is taken away, what about the people that live out there? How are they supposed to get downtown or get to anywhere else? Did anybody take any of that into consideration before they said just eliminate it? Yeah, a lot of people may not ride that bus, but they still live there and they still need to get home. Not everybody can afford a Lyft or Uber for $30 from Oklahoma City to Spencer. I know I can't. That's all.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, ma'am. Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
So you talk about your connectivity to Mary Mahoney. Mm-hmm. What else do you use the 19 for, if anything?
Route 19, I don't personally use it for anything else except the doctor. So that's why I said if there's a bus that could get me from the terminal to the doctor, that would be great. But how can I make sure that that's going to be set up to where my appointments are? Like, am I going to be able to call down to the terminal and say, hey, I need an appointment to get to Mary Mahoney. How do I get there? Or do you guys have a bus to get there since 19 is going to be gone? So I just know what I go through with it.
And you're here in this part of the city, so you would go to
I'm actually currently homeless, so it's harder for me to get anywhere or do anything. So with that being said, I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next one is William Ginn.
My name is William Ginn, and I reside in Midwest City, Oklahoma, and I ride the number 15 bus to work a couple times per month. I would ride the bus more often if the number 15 had a more frequent schedule going and coming to work. Right now, the number 15 has a turnaround every 80 minutes. This gets me to work either way too early or way too late to my job, which begins at 8 o'clock. I'm thrilled at the idea of the number 15 being merged with the number 19, which serves Spencer and Northeast Oklahoma City. That merger would open up the way for me to access Mary Mahoney Medical and Dental Center if I chose. I have Health Choice medical insurance as a state employee, and I would use Mary Mahoney, and I could use Mary Mahoney for medical and dental services. It would be a convenient bus ride from my home to Northeast Oklahoma City if the number 15 bus were merged with the number 19. I ride public transportation by choice. I do have a car, but I love to ride public transportation too. Public transportation becomes better as more people choose to use it. Vice versa, more people choose to use public transportation when schedules are better, bus stops are all weather, and connections are good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
I have this that I could leave with you. Okay.
Okay, our next one is Kamal Pennington.
Good morning. It almost feels like I'm double dipping because I already got to speak on this issue once, but at least you know how strongly I feel about it. But I appreciate you all's consideration today. And I also want to especially thank our Director of Embark, Jesse Rush, who does a great job and has been so willing to have so many meetings with our community about the importance of the changes to Route 19. I want to just say quickly on behalf of our community that we're grateful for Embark. We're grateful to have this public service. We know how important it is for all people in our community to have access to the amenities, to the essentials, to medical care, and Embark is critical to that, and so we appreciate it. But I understand that while we are in this difficult time of budget cuts, it's important that we not put the brunt of these budget cuts on the most vulnerable people in our community. And this cut to Route 19 threatens those values that we have for access for all. If you think about our community in the Spencer-Dungy area, many of them, this route is their only access back to downtown Oklahoma City from a public perspective. And I'd ask that as we consider alternative options to cutting Route 19, consider the fact that some of my constituent and some of yours in more dense parts of Oklahoma City, if one route is cut, they might only have to walk a block or two to still receive service from Embark. But if you're talking about our neighbors right here who are impacted by Route 19, where will they go? Walking miles at a time to be able to access public transit? It's not a reasonable ask in my view. So I'm here to just once again advocate for our neighbors and ask that we explore every option to ensure that there's quality access for transportation for our neighbors in Far East Oklahoma City, Spencer-Dungy area. And I appreciate your consideration this morning.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is Sunrisa Nowicki.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sunrisa Nowicki. It's nice to meet all of you, and thank you for being here. You know, my mom, when I was little, she used to be like, if you're bringing me a problem, I also need you to bring me a solution. And that's kind of what APT is trying to do. We're trying to give you some options from our standpoint of kind of how we can do this. So the problem is that vital access for vulnerable populations. Route 19 is a lifeline for individuals in Spencer who reside in public housing units such as Fred Factory and around that neighborhood. Many rely on it to access essential services, jobs, and healthcare facilities such as Mary Mahoney, as we've already spoke about. Ending Route 19 creates a transit desert. That, like the councilman said, that will be horrible. Eliminating this route cuts off an entire population already facing barriers. The gap left behind is not just inconvenient, it's dangerous and destabilizing for people trying to rebuild their lives. The solution, I'm offering a solution. We're offering a solution. I think everybody that spoke today has kind of offered that solution in some form. Don't eliminate. We're proposing a smart solution. Extend Route 15 into Route 19. Make it one route. I think Larry said it's 2 miles. It's only 2 extra miles. And make it run every 45 minutes. This ensures continuity and even expands access without starting from scratch. You're just adding those buses to that route. Increase frequency. A 45-minute loop in the morning means reliability for that gentleman trying to get to work, and for those who can't afford to miss work, appointments, or check-ins around the city for different housing appointments and things like that. It also better supports ADA compliance for individuals with disabilities because they're not at those bus stops as long. Investing in transit is investing in solutions. That's what I talked about earlier. When you support this extension, you're directly supporting economic mobility, public safety, and community stability. And it's a small change with a huge, big ripple effect. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Tahiri Johnson. Their handheld microphone.
It's way down. Okay. There we go. Yes.
Oh, okay, that works.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
So if the number 19 is to be eliminated, then the number 15 Midwest City route needs to be extended into Spencer, can go right down Air Depot, and extend instead of going in the circular route that it currently takes. And the solution to an inadequate route like 19 is not the elimination of the route. And the microtransit is not a substitute. Transportation for the elderly and the disabled only does not cut it. All citizens of Spencer need access to public transportation. Thank you.
Thank you. William Tennell.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, for pronouncing my name correctly. Almost nobody does that. My name is Bill Tennell. I live in Oklahoma City. I have no idea which ward I live in. I would like to comment both on the Route 24 issue and the Route 19 issue. On the Route 24 issue, I would only very quickly say, and I should say, by the way, I am a member of the board of APT, Alliance for Public Transportation. But on the Route 24 issue, my comments would be more not as a representative of Catholic Charities, but in my capacity as an employee of Catholic Charities. I can confirm the prior comments of Sherman, I believe it was Evinger, who said that the morning and evening routes for 24, if it is truly going to be a commuter route, are crucial. In my capacity at Catholic Charities, one of the things that I do as a job developer is I help our employees get jobs. We often look down in Norman, and I can tell you that even being able to know whether you can apply for a job often depends on the availability of the bus routes and what those times are going to be. Down in Norman, a lot of the jobs down there are medical jobs, which I'm sure that you can understand often start early and late. When it comes to the Route 24 issue, I can certainly understand curtailing midday service. That seems to me to be efficient, but I would, for that reason, completely agree that we need to at least maintain, if not extend, morning and evening hours. That would make an effective commuter route. When it comes to the Route 19 issue, I would incorporate all the previous comments with which I agree. I would only add one particular thing. It has been MBARC's position in the prior planning meetings that they are willing, very thankfully, to substitute out to the terminus at the Mary Mahoney of Route 19 some type of microtransit. I think that is a wonderful suggestion. I would say I think it is kind of putting the cart before the horse in the sense that I don't know how we plan for microtransit if we haven't already figured out a way efficiently to know where that is going to go from and where that is going to go to. Assuming it goes to Mary Mahoney, it seems inefficient to do microtransit unless we have already figured out what the end terminus of whatever remaining bus lines are. We've already suggested extending Route 15, possibly extending Route 2 so they can both join at one transit point, either at 36th and Douglas or at a minimum 23rd and Douglas, which contains a Walmart, which is a big demand driver for the entire system. It seems to me that knowing what the terminus is, that can then serve as the beginning point of some kind of extended microtransit, if that's what we end up doing, would be critical to understand before we cut off service. Otherwise, we're going to start with microtransit, I don't know, from the downtown transit center or as a total point-to-point situation, which can, either of which can happen, but seems inefficient. I would prefer that we know what the terminus of the eastern end of the system, whatever it is, be the then embarking point for the microtransit, that it can then serve that limited route. That seems very efficient, but in order to do that, I think we need to decide the rest of the system first, then the microtransit, and then take away Route 19. It seems to me that what we were doing at this point is the exact opposite. Taking away Route 19, then planning for microtransit without knowing what the rest of the system is going to look like. And I just think that is very inefficient, both for Embark and, just as my final comment, the whole plan is inefficient for DHS and for OCHA that have also invested and relied quite a lot on the Embark system. DHS relies on it and will have to pick up a lot of cost if this is not completely planned for, because they've got the Fred factory out there, or excuse me, OCHA has the Fred factory out there. They'll have to pick up the cost in some other way in some other budget if there's a gap in service. And of course, DHS with Mary Mahoney, same thing. If they need to get their clients out there, they're going to be picking up the cost if there's a gap in service.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your comments. Our next citizen is Tegan Malone. Hi.
Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see you all. I am here today as someone who has been working with the Alliance for Public Transportation, and I also present myself as someone who has been actively campaigning in the House District 95 area for the last 4 years. I only mention this because I have spoken to over 20,000 of my neighbors in a community that borders the area that we're talking about that is impacted by Bus Route 19. Something that I know as an anecdote from my area alone in Midwest City is that cars that our young people are having access to, that number is steadily dwindling. Anytime you walk past or drive past a high school parking lot, you see that that transportation is not something that's readily accessible for people. How are our young people getting to their jobs? How are they getting to those higher education opportunities if they don't have access to a vehicle? And as we see these steadily declines in our socioeconomic status in our communities, it's only going to get worse. What I know about the area that serves Bus Route 19 is we've got some amazing young people that live out in that area. And they're the only Oklahoma City public school that are eligible to go to Rose State College for 2 years for free through the Ticket for Rose program. And this is a wonderful opportunity to help mobilize and engage a community. But a lot of our students that attend Star Spencer aren't going to have the mobility to be able to get over into Midwest City to be able to take advantage of that. Through the course of our work, we were able to get Rose State College to agree to host a park and ride area somewhere on their campus to enable better transit routes through Midwest City or connect through Spencer. We've heard some wonderful ideas here today. I'd just like to commend every single person that not only sits on this board, but also works at Embark, because when you get people who are passionate about transportation and they look at their budget numbers, they don't just see the numbers. They see the people that it affects. And that is first and foremost in their hearts and in their minds when they're looking at making these decisions. And I know through these community meetings that our Embark staff has hosted, and thank you all so very much for that, you see that heart. You see how much it pains them to have to deliver this blow to a community. And I don't want those employees to be put in that position because we just need to save some money on a budget. Let's keep these people in the forefront of our mind. Let's not keep a community and an island unto itself. Let's make sure that they've got the access that they need to be participating in the communities east and south of them, where they're spending their hard-earned taxpayer dollars and they're getting the health care that they need. And if we can be of any assistance at all to help facilitate this or educational opportunities with the community to help increase ridership, we're game. Thank you so very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the number of people who have requested time to speak today, and we thank you all for doing that. I'll ask, are there any comments from our trustees?
I've said what I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah, the only comment I have is we've had 2 public hearings. We had one on this previous Tuesday and the one last week. I appreciate, see several familiar faces from those public hearing meetings. I really, really appreciate everybody coming out to those and making their voices heard, and appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Except I will say this, especially, I'm so sorry, your name, it escaped me. Say it again. Lynette. I would encourage you and any others, I think it's important, the City of OKC's budget process is happening right now, in addition to these monthly COPPA meetings. And it's worth your time to come back, Sherman, come back, Lynette, come stand at this podium when the city manager is sitting up here. He's the one who asked for the 4.5% reduction across the city budget, the departments. I didn't. So I think when he hears more of those experiences like you all are describing as users, that helps put some pressure on his staff for us to figure out these solutions before we have to vote for the budget. You become the people. And that's all I can tell you. That's just, I've been in this for a few minutes, and I think people showing up's important.
I got a question. How do I find out when the public hearings are happening? Because it's not advertised.
We'll get you a little schedule. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We're going to transition now to a report on our mobility management. It might be of interest to you all. And we will hear that report again. We're not in our COPTA meeting because we do not have a quorum, but we would like to hear about our mobility management services report from Marilyn Dillon.
Morning, everyone. It's good to see everybody. Good to see that you have not floated away and you were able to get into the building without your waders on today. So great to be here today. Wanted to share some information on our various services through the Mobility Management Division. As a reminder, our senior services are funded through an Older Americans Act grant in partnership with the Department of Human Services and Area-Wide Aging Agency. The numbers I'm giving you are through March of 2025. As you can see, our biggest demand is for adult day services, and we're seeing a very big increase in the need for urgent medical care. Or what we call non-emergency medical transportation. We were trending around January to see our ridership be greater at the end of the year than it was last fiscal year. But as you know, we had some major winter storms in February and this most recent rain. Our population doesn't travel when the weather's like that, so we've seen some drops over the last couple of months, but I expect it to rebound as it starts to warm up. Our community development programs are going very, very well. We truly appreciate the additional budget authority to give some additional bus passes to our partner agencies. That has been accomplished. We have sent out notices to them that they received an increased award, and we are seeing them start to come and pick those up. So far, we've distributed 38,000 through the end of March. April saw a huge increase. That's when most of the people came and picked up their additional bus passes. So next time you see me, that number is going to be much, much bigger. We've done 37 share fare trips. One of the things that we're doing between now and the first of the fiscal year is to update that share fare program and kind of refresh it. It's gone through a couple of iterations. We've gotten some feedback from our participants on how they would like to see us improve it. So we're going to be bringing some options to you soon for you to consider and give us some guidance on how we should go with that. Our partnerships with Remerge and Hope House and Palomar are going very well. Through March, we've done just a little over 8,700 trips. These are just really just amazing partnerships and programs. It's been a huge help to our team, to our mobility management team, to have these three agencies be so flexible with us, so willing to continually sit down at the table, look at the program, make tweaks, make things better for the participants. We're excited that because of all that work that we're going to be able to do this again with other agencies going into next fiscal year. It has just been a phenomenal experience for everyone and learning, because we've learned from them and they've also learned from us on how to be more efficient with the dollars that they have for transportation. Our Climb Ride program is going very well. As you know, we received a $1.5 million grant for a replication project with Pivot for transition age youth aging out of foster care. That is now fully launched. We're serving all of the 50 youth that are in the tiny homes community. Some of you that are familiar with Pivot's structure may know that they also have a program called the Family Junction. This is working with transition age youth that are still with their foster family. We will be meeting with them in the next couple of weeks to expand that program out with those teens as well. I wanted to share a couple of the comments that some of the teens at Pivot have shared with us as we've started this program. When we first started, their goal was to get a stable work so that they can be stable and go into adulthood, housing, move on with their life. But many times, because they depend on public transit, as we've heard from some of the comments earlier, some of the only jobs they have available to them that are close by are fast food jobs, late night jobs, things like that. Because we've launched the Climb Ride program and they have access to some additional options, we're seeing some of these youth be able to secure jobs at Amazon, high-paying jobs with benefits at Paycom. We're just tremendously thrilled to see what it's doing. We had one of the youth say, I had a 5-year plan to stabilize myself, but it was going to take me 5 years because I was working at Brahms. But now I work at Amazon. I have benefits. I have a retirement plan. They have educational benefits. I've signed up to go back to school. My 5-year plan just became a 2-year plan. So we're really excited about that. We are in the process of renewing our contract with DHS for Climb Ride Child Welfare in Oklahoma County. As we've talked about budget cuts, we were also asked by the state to reduce the cost of that program by 10%. Absolute kudos to Adrian Harrell and Latanja Roberts for running this program so far under budget that we were able to absorb that 10% without any reduction in services. So I'm really proud of their work. Embarkwell is doing very well. Demand, as you can see, over the course since we launched it in 2019, has just skyrocketed. We did secure a $10,000 grant from the Oklahoma City Community Foundation to help us meet this increased demand. We are also applying for some Section 5310 money to further expand this program next fiscal year. I mentioned the 5310 funding stream. As a reminder, we assumed this is the direct recipient back on October 1st, 2024. Our current year apportionment is $1.2 million. It does allow both capital and operating projects. We have taken one round of applications. We got 5 applications. Those agencies are buying new vehicles with their grant awards. You'll be seeing those agreements come through the board in the next couple of months, and in July you'll be approving the program of projects for this funding. We also just completed the second round of applications, and those are in process of being scored right now. We're going to see some agencies add software technology to improve our ability to coordinate our vehicles across the system, as well as taking advantage of some of the other options that are available for funding under 5310 beyond just buying a vehicle. So, as you might have heard, we got some new mobility software. We are finished with the initial implementation. There's some other pieces of the software that are still in development, including the mobile app that the customers can use to schedule their own transportation. We expect that to launch later after the start of the fiscal year in the fall. This was funded by a 2021 Innovative Coordinated Access and Mobility Grant from the Federal Transit Administration. The software is absolutely phenomenal. We have had some growing pains. We were working with a big legacy system, and we had a lot of back-end processes to make that legacy system work for us the way we wanted it to work for us and for our customers. So in addition to putting in new software, we are also having to adjust our internal processes to match a system that does so many more things for us than the other one did. One other thing before I get down here from here I wanted to share with you. In addition to this mobility software project, we also won an FY 2024 ICAM grant to help us soundproof our call center for a better customer experience. That's going to be part of the South May remodeling project, and we were really thrilled that we were able to get that funding. We'll also be using it to buy a couple of new vehicles, and we'll be sharing some more details about that with you in the next couple of meetings. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Anybody have questions for Marilyn?
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, I want to thank everybody for coming today. We do hear you. We appreciate your input in our process, and be assured that this budget process, we do not like to cut service any place. So we will work to try and get some solutions through staff to mitigate the inconvenience that it's causing. With that, the meeting is adjourned.